Welcome back to the shop. What I'm going to do this morning on the DeWalt scroll saw is try to make it a little bit more mobile. Currently the stand is great, works pretty well, but when I need to move it out to use it or to put it away, I just drag it around on the ground and it sounds terrible, or I lift it up and it's kind of heavy. So what I'm going to try to do is modify the stand that it came with some casters that I got off of Amazon. Maybe I'll put a plywood shelf or two on here because I have all kinds of stuff, and if I have another place to put it, then I can get more stuff. So I'm going to take the scroll saw off right here, and then I'm going to take the stand over to the bench and see if I can modify and put these casters on. So hopefully it works out. I have the scroll saw stand up here on the bench. I got my workbench casters, and we'll open up and see what we got. So this is a Amazon set. Comes with an easy install template. Don't need that. And then this is how they're going to go together. Okay, here we go. Here's the caster. It's up like that. And then when you push this down, it goes down. You can kind of see. So hopefully that'll lift it up to move it around and then drop it down so I can use it. Here, I'm going to mock it up with some self-tapping screws. I cut these pieces of 3/4 scrap plywood because that's how high I want the stand when I put the wheels down. So I'm going to screw this guy on there just like that with some self-tapping screws. To see, I'm going to put the saw back on and make sure that this will support it. Okay, so what I have is this moves around pretty well with nothing on it. This leg's at an angle, so I think we'll address that when we put it on the inside. I'll put a board or a piece of metal on here that's straight up and down, but it does move. And then if we lift these up, you know, it drops down on the ground. The only thing I think I need to do is the front ones, because they're at an angle, the wheel is not sitting straight up and down, so it kind of gets caught when it needs to turn. I'll probably leave it like this with zip screws, but I want to make it a little bit better. And like I said, I want to put this push down pedal on the inside so that it's out of the way of the rest of the shop, because it sticks out, you know, like 5 inches and I don't trip on it. From this angle, maybe you'll be able to see why it doesn't work as well. So when this is down, it has to go up and down because of the center of this axle, because it's not plumb here. So if I put my square against there, you can see this triangle wedge that I would have. And then the axle would spin around and this wouldn't go up and down and then kind of be wobbly when I push it. So I'm going to cut a wedge in there. I'm going to mount these inboard so that this doesn't stick out to trip over, and then we'll decide what we're going to do with the back. But I'm really happy with it. DeWalt, you should put this on them as an option on your saw stands, because otherwise it's a bear to move around. So what I'm going to do is use this offcut of butcher block that I have, maple. So I take my angle gauge on the inside. I can find the angle of the inside of the leg. I'll transfer that on here, rip this down so that I can mount it. So we're back behind the table saw, get the blade raised up, and then we'll get it set to the angle of the inside of that leg, and I can rip that piece of maple. There we are, perfect. Safety. Now that I got my angle set, my fence all set, I can get this board on there. I have these cool little magnetic stops or hold downs that I can put on to keep it tight into the fence. We'll turn the little dust collection on and get cutting. So we're perfectly plumb up and down, but what I didn't really take into consideration when I was doing this is this gap right here. These are not parallel with each other. So I'm gonna have to put a little shim in there and I can bolt this. So I changed gears a little bit. I'm gonna mount this further in. Instead of putting the wheels on the back, I'm gonna still put the wheels on the front so it's easier for me to hit them with my foot. So here's the wheel. It's gonna be mounted to this board back here. Probably see that on the side like that. And I can step down to lift it up. These will get bolted through. I have a scrap of oak for the back from a pallet for my air compressor. I'm gonna pre-drill quick and mount the feet for the back of the stand. So now that I have my wheels all mounted up to this piece, I cut and infilled this with another piece of hardwood, and you can see it's up on my spacer for the wheels to be down. So I'll get them set. I want it right about there. Make a mark, then I'll pull this off and mount it to here and then screw it back in. I marked the center of this board. I marked the top center of this one. We're gonna put them on there. I'm gonna quick drill some holes and screw them together. And now we can put this on and screw it into the legs. I'd like to be able to operate both of these with one push. So I cut a piece of conduit, wrapped it in yellow tape since it's DeWalt. I drilled 2 holes in these, and I'm going to put some self-tapping screws in there so I can just push one bar to lift it up. So now it's screwed on, one push, moves around, lift it up, one push, goes down. Off camera, I painted the wood. I was gonna leave it, but I decided to paint it because I moved the wheels to the front instead of the back. You don't see it as much, and it blends in and matches with the base. I wrapped a little yellow tape around here because it looks like the DeWalt. You can push this down, push this one down in the back, and it moves effortlessly. This thing is awesome. So slides around, and then to lock it down, you just hook up these 2, and you're back down to sturdy, ready to cut. Awesome. It should come like this from the factory, but a great add-on. So if you're having trouble moving your scroll saw around, take an idea like this and be able to have a mobile scroll saw in your shop. So I decided to put a couple shelves under it. I put 2 plywood shelves. I made a template out of a piece of paper, cut out the shape of the bottom of the base, put a low one in so I can put stuff on it, and then I made this little case for my bits that can go under here. There's a couple of patterns, another blade, put on here, and then to move it, you can step on that back one, step on this front one, move this saw wherever I need to move it, and then when I get there, I just lift it up, and I'm sturdy, ready to use the scroll saw. So, thanks for watching. I hope you like it. I am going to get a lot of use out of this so I don't have to have the nails on chalkboard and dragging it across the concrete floor, and I can get on to my next project on working on the Rambler. So, like, subscribe if you want. Check out some more. Thank you.